Random House Audio presents Friends and Fauxs by Tracie Howard, read for you by Bahni Turpin. Chapter 1. Midas Touch, Brandon's imposing 191-foot yacht, floated serenely in spite of the churn of afternoon waves that lapped seductively at Saint-Tropez's sandy coastline. He'd recently taken possession of the decadent, even by yachting standards, vessel after spending over a year and tens of millions of dollars working with the best craftsmen in the world on every detail, from the design of the heliport and assortment of smaller boats beneath, to the 18-karat gold fixtures that accented the Italian marble in the exquisitely appointed master spa. These extravagant touches were after parting with a cool $200 million for the custom-designed luxury craft itself. Nonetheless, the sight of his equally exquisite wife, Gillian, as she sunned topless on the upper deck, made this pricey investment well worth every single euro. The boat and the beauty, Brandon's two prized possessions, validated that he had successfully outrun the squalor of Mississippi's projects. He'd recently sold his money-minting boutique record label, Sound Entertainment, to one of the major labels for over $500 million, more than enough money to scrub away any lingering stench from the gangster rap game and replace it with the sweet smell of success. He was untouchable. The S on Brandon's chest was accented with 2 vertical slashes right down its middle. "You are more beautiful every day," he whispered in awe. At the moment he was speaking of Gillian rather than the magnificent boat. "Thanks, darling," Gillian murmured. Her 4-carat flawless diamond stud earrings radiated beneath the Mediterranean sun, which even mid-December was grade E brilliant. Brandon could hardly believe that this stunning, exotic creature was all his. The ghetto bumpkin who hadn't known a salad fork from a pair of nose clippers had managed to snag the most beautiful and desired woman in Hollywood, if not the world. Brandon may have been born into dire poverty, without a glint of sophistication, but he applied tenacity and street smarts to build a vast music empire, and then smoothly leveraged that success to pry his way into the film industry. He then used his access to lure Gillian into his grasp, making her a superstar actress and his wife in the process. By far, the latter was her most demanding role to date. When they met, she was a former runway model / struggling actress, but he'd astutely appraised the dazzling diamond that shone unseen beneath the rough. Brandon recognized a star in the making when he saw one, and the woman he met that day sat at the center of her own constellation. Gillian was simply the most elegant woman he'd ever met. Her poise, beauty, and stature stubbornly defied the fact that she had no money, no career prospects, and no man. And unlike most women, the latter of the list was the least of her concerns. "Why don't you come in? We wouldn't want any sunburn on that beautiful skin of yours." "I'll be fine," she said. "What time is it?" she mumbled, turning away from him. Though there was a slight autumn chill in the air, in the middle of the Mediterranean, the still intense sun felt good against her skin. This was their last outing on the floating palace until next summer, and she wanted to soak up every second of it. "I'm sure what you really want to know is what time is it in L.A.?" He grinned. "It's 4:45 a.m., he answered, not needing to consult the $100,000 Chopard timepiece that sat depreciating on his wrist. Today was monumental for both of them. "That's not what I meant," Gillian insisted. Her posture was relaxed, even languid, though she had every reason to be excited and anxious at the prospect of what the day could bring. Regardless, she felt a chill that had less to do with autumn on the Mediterranean Sea than it did with the fact that she couldn't shake the mist of foreboding that haunted her. Brandon assumed that her edginess was a case of game day jitters. These next 900 seconds could change her life forever, not to mention his, which was something he'd strived to do since his first car trip across the Mississippi state line. "I've asked Henri to serve lunch in the media room. Why don't you meet me there in 15 minutes?" he asked. "I'm not hungry," she replied. Gillian simply couldn't stomach the thought of sitting anxiously in front of a TV screen, passively awaiting news of her fate. She'd much rather lie still, preparing herself for the drama that was sure to unfold in her life one way or the other. She had no idea how accurate her premonition was. Brandon smiled and ran his fingers affectionately through her tangle of golden brown hair. "See you shortly, baby," he said, possessively patting her bottom before taking the outer stairs down a level to a state-of-the-art media room which rivaled any on land or sea. "Champagne, sir?" the uniformed waiter asked, greeting Brandon the minute he slid his feet into a waiting pair of Hermes slippers. Henri, Brandon's butler, who supervised the impressive collection in the ship's wine cellar, chose a Paul Gerg rosé champagne to accompany their lunch of Mediterranean sea bass, which was delivered aboard within an hour of being reeled from the azure blue waters. A sumptuous salad niçoise and freshly baked croissant accompanied it. Brandon accepted a perfectly chilled glass of the effervescent bubbles and felt similarly buoyed. Though the official announcement had yet to be made, every instinct told him that a big celebration would soon be in order. High on life, he ordered, "Henri, go down to the wine cellar and bring up our best bottle of champagne. The most expensive." "Sir, we have a bottle of Clos de Menil Krug 1995 on board as well," Henri offered. Though many bottles were more well known, this was an amazing bottle. "I've never heard of it," Brandon said dismissively, as if name recognition mattered at all when it came to quality. For him it did, particularly since Brandon's uncultivated palate couldn't distinguish the difference between a sparkling white wine from Napa and a single vintage champagne from the noted region in France. He settled into one of the butter-soft leather chaises in his state-of-the-art screening room. A custom-designed surround sound system was embedded in each chair's headrest, allowing the viewer to tailor his audio experience. Snug as a bug in a cashmere rug, he turned to ABC's U.S. West Coast feed. It wasn't long before Demi Moore, Forrest Whitaker, and Salma Hayek were announcing the 2009 Oscar nominees. Brandon sat patiently through the names of actors and films, waiting to hear the names of the nominees for Best Actress. "And the nominees for Best Actress are," began Forrest. Brandon leaned forward, literally sitting on the edge of his seat. "Kate Winslet for The Long Road, Angelina Jolie for Never Kiss and Tell, Gillian Tillman Russell for Gold Diggers." Brandon didn't hear another word, only the deafening sound of success mixed with the rush of pure adrenaline that together was sweeter than any orgasm known to man. His wife, muse, and client had just been nominated for an Oscar. He inhaled deeply, his burly chest expanding with pride as he savored the moment. On cue, Henri appeared with 2 chilled champagne flutes and a serving of beluga caviar and toast points. "Shall I pour for 2?" he asked. "Absolutely," Brandon replied, as he watched the finesse with which Henri held the silver tray of glasses atop outstretched fingers while deftly pouring the bottle with his thumb in its concave bottom. Brandon briefly thought of trying it later, but just as quickly reasoned not to bother. After all, that was what he paid Henri handsomely for. With both glasses in hand, Brandon headed to the top deck, careful to leave his slippers inside, per the protocol of yachting. He marched.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?